Here we are on page 157 on your book, chapter 1, lesson 6, and this is about creating titles. You guys ready? Yeah? All right, let's go. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your project panel and you're going to create a bin. We already have a bin for the pictures, the still images that we used, but we're going to create a new one, and we're going to create that for our titles. And I already messed up here. I created one inside of the other one. Erase that. For some reason mine didn't respond right away. Okay, and you notice, look at my screen here. I created a bin inside of that the picture one, which is not what I want. So I'll throw it out. Make sure you don't have it selected, highlighted, and activated, because otherwise if you click on a new bin, it goes inside of that. Okay, so I'm going to bring it to just click on an empty space on the project panel, and that creates that new bin, and I'll name it titles. Go ahead and do that. Once you have that up, you're going to double click, and when you double click again, you create a floating window for the bin. And the good thing about this is that any other title, if you have a floating window open and is activated, any title that you create automatically goes in the title. Whereas if you don't do that, if you have it closed, and you just click on here and you click on new item and you choose title, the title just goes to the root folder of the project file, and then eventually manually you have to click and drag those titles into the bin. Okay, so it's a matter of being organized. I really don't care whichever way you do it, but just know that if you separate your stuff, your projects are eventually going to get bigger and bigger, and you don't want to be looking for whatever title you created inside of the root folder all over the place. Okay, so in this case here, we're going to have the bin open by double clicking on it. Make sure you have a bin named titles, and we're going to create a title for this. Look on page 157 in your book on step number 4, and then you'll have a problem here because it tells you to go. What does it say here? Noah, do you want to? You're ahead of us, right? Yes. Anybody with us? Michael? All right, Michael, what does it say in step number 4? Do you have the book open? It's okay. Anybody? Yeah, Julia.
It says to click File and then Import.
Yep. So what happens when you do that? And File and Application bar is going to be asking, they want you to navigate to the data files, right? The data files, again, are in what drive? S or M? M. Under Mr. Sun. Don't do this, okay? Don't do this because it's not going to work for you. I'm just showing you. If you go to Premiere, Data Files, Chapter 1, the step number 4 tells you to find Earth Day text. But Earth Day text is not going to be there. Why? The import feature doesn't work in those computers because you don't have Microsoft Word installed. Okay, so if you work together with me in web design, we had the same issue. So none of the importing features without Word actually work. Okay, so you won't be able to do this step as the book tells you. Yeah, it's interesting to ask, Noah, how did you do this if you were not able to do it?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
Like, you can't do it on your computer following the steps of the book. So how did you get it done? Do you remember doing this? Bringing the native Indian proverb onto the montage?
Oh, should be under
It's okay. I mean, I'm just curious because following the instructions on the book, it wouldn't have worked. Chase, do you remember how you did it?
For
the native Indian proverb thing?
I just went to Windows Explorer.
Okay, that's the way to do it. Okay, but so you figured it out yourself, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so again, importing is not going to work in a step on the book. This is what you have to do. You're going to have to go to Windows Explorer. Okay, so you can right-click on the Windows orb or click on My Computer and click on Windows Explorer. You're going to have to navigate to the data files, which is under Mr. Sun, M Drive, Premiere, Data Files, Chapter 1. And when you open the data files in the Windows Explorer, you are going to see Earth Day there, okay? You just can't import it directly from Premiere. So in this case here, we're going to just double click. And on my computer is set to open a notepad. What I think yours is as well, right? So whenever the book, from now on, whenever the book tells you to import a source that is a text document, for instance, chances are you will not be able to use the file import because Word is not installed. You're going to have to do this workaround, which is opening in Windows Explorer, double-clicking on the file, and what do you do from here? You highlight what you want, and you copy, and then you paste into where you want it. Any questions there? Okay, so remember, importing, anytime the book talks about importing stuff, if it talks about text files, you will not be able to do it. Alright, anyways, so let's move on here. So I have this, the first set, we do not inherit the earth, blah, 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 until the words Native American proverb. Okay, highlight that all, copy to the clipboard, and minimize this. You're going to need it later. The next thing you want to do, and you have to kind of resize your I'm going to resize this so you can see a little bit. You're going to go to your sequence panel, and you're going to move the CTI to 3 seconds and 20 frames. Okay, so look at my time code here. You want to drag the CTI all the way to 3 seconds and 20 frames. Okay, if your CTI is being finicky, just zoom in on the sequence, and they'll allow you to actually do some macro stuff easier. So anyways, make sure your CTI is stopped at 3 seconds and 20 frames. You guys ready? We're going to open the tool that creates titles. And that's on page 158, step number 7. You don't need to look at your book. I'm just pointing out to you guys on the recording so that when you guys do this on your own, if you're behind, you know where to look in the book. But anyways, you go to File, New, and you're going to choose Title. There are several ways of creating new titles. Control-T, File, New, Title. Or you can go into the title bin. On the bottom there, you can click on New Item and Title. Either way, it goes to the same place. You click on that, you get the dialog box, New Title dialog box, and you get to name this title. And we're going to name this Native American Proverb. Native American Proverb. Okay? You leave all other settings default, what you have in pixel 720 by 480. Okay? 30 frames per second here. DV NTSC encoding, pixel acceleration. So leave it all default. You don't change anything other than the name. And then click on OK. Okay? Once you click on OK, this window pops up and it covers just about everything. And this is when it's useful for you to have dual monitors. Okay? But we only have one, so it occupies everything and covers. But this is the titler. The book refers to this titler. This is the name of the thing. I call it the thing that we use to make titles. Okay, I just call it whatever. But this gives you a little preview. If yours doesn't look like mine, it looks like you don't see the trees and the rocks in the background. Click on this button right here, which is the Show Background Video button. This actually toggles this feature on and off. So if you click it off, it shows you just the title and the transparent background. If you click it, you toggle it on, it actually shows you what the CTI is on top of, which at this point is at 3 seconds and 20 frames. Okay? So anyways, it shows you where the title is going to go in. The titler has several panels as well. This is a tool on its own. Okay, so this is the tool that you use for making titles. Everything that has to do with titles, you work on this window here. And when you're done with this titler, you can close it or you can leave it on to the side. For us, we'll always close it because we don't have a second monitor that we can just drag this onto. Okay, so anyways, this titler has a tool panel on the top right, has some properties for the tools on the title document toolbar here, has some actions that refers to titles, has some styles on the bottom here, and I'll click and resize the panel here so you can see more of it. Okay, so you have the styles for the title, and then there's also the title properties that you're going to use all the time. Okay, so whenever you're drawing something, you use the tools. Whenever you're modifying its contents, you're going to use everything else, like the styles or the properties. And whenever you're aligning and organizing layout of the title, you're going to use the title actions on the lower lower left. Okay? Everybody good? Are you on the titler? You're going to click on the type tool right now. And by the way, just remember, type, in everything Adobe, we refer to text as type. Okay? So anyways, click on the type tool. You're going to click anywhere inside of your title, and you're going to paste. So you can Control V, or you can go to the file on the edit menu bar and click on paste, or just Control V. Okay, so anyways, I'll do that. Control V. And now what you copied from Notepad comes in here and is huge. Okay, it's way big. We're going to have to resize this, so move back to your selection tool or shortcut key V, and click on the title anywhere. You have to have it selected. Okay? We're going to change the size of the font, the type, to I believe it's 62. You can type it in, or you can just click and drag like any other Premiere option. So I'm going to click and drag the title size here on the top to 62. Or you can just highlight it and type it in. It's on very top here. And make sure the title, the type is selected. Okay? And we are on page 159. You want to change this to, align this to the position, to the center position, vertical center. Is this button here. Okay? So you can click on the title action here, right here. And what this does is it centers in relation to the vertical axis your type. You can do that on both directions, vertical and horizontal. So very handy tool, okay? Right here, boom, boom. It puts it smack in the middle. But obviously our type is actually not centered in a manner that is good yet. So we're going to do that later. On step number 15, where I did that, and save your project, Control S at this point. Save it. We're moving on to page 160, and we're going to let me see here, make sure this is we're all good here. We're going to add some styles now to the title. We are going to go to the Tecton Pro Narrow Yellow 100. That's on step number 6 on page 160. So make sure this is selected, the type is selected, type frame. Scroll down on styles. Tecton's going to be one of the last ones. I think it's this guy here. Tecton Pro Narrow Yellow 100. If you tooltip it on top of the style, it'll tell you what it is. So it's this guy here on my screen. I click, and you're going to notice that applies to the whole type inside the frame. We're going to do more changing to this. Everybody good? Yeah? Nobody lost yet? Katie? All right. On page 161, step number 7, we're going to go to the property panel here. We're going to change the height to 300. So click in there, type 300, press enter. I'm going to change the fill type to solid instead of bevel. Okay, so that's under the category fill. Click on that drop down list, choose solid. And then you're going to choose the color for the fill. Instead of yellow, we're going to change that to white. So click on the color, drag, and go all the way to the lower left corner. Click OK for a nice white. And the aspect ratio is on the top here on the properties. Okay, on the properties category here. Aspect, we're going to go to 79.5, 79.5, and press enter. Okay, so that brings this up into the frame. I'm going to center vertically and center horizontally again because we changed the size of the frame, and that shifts its position on the title. Now, something's going to happen here, which is interesting. There were several moves that we did, right? We configured the style, we configured the size of the font, the type, we changed the aspect ratio, We also changed the fill color and fill type. A lot of